Guys, my name's MBZ, I got a battle for you today. It's a Noobers match against some guy who I don't even know his name of. AceStarThe3rd, I think it is his name, so let's get caught up in the battle. Let's start it off! I lead off with Kyogre, and he leads off with Jamin. This is a Skymin, and Skymin is a horrible, horrible matchup for me, so I'm going to switch out to Ferrothorn. And this is where the match just gets sped up, like super mega speed times a bajillion, because essentially, he sets up a sub as I switch, and Ferrothorn doesn't really have the means to break the sub, because I have Power Whip instead of Gyro Ball, meaning that he 4 times resists it, and it's a bad situation. I get up rocks in the process, but the best thing for me to do is really to go to Zekrom, because Zekrom basically resists both dual stabs? No, it just resists both stabs, dual stabs as they may be, and I'm able to hit it with super effective Bolt Strikes and possibly Draco Meteors along the way. It just depends on what happens. The only thing that's really going for him is Leech Seed, of course, but really my main plan of attack here is to just hit his sub as many times as possible, get rid of it, make sure that he doesn't have a sub up by the point I bring in the thing that I want to revenge kill him with, and that would just be dandy if I could do that. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Leech Seed constantly knocking me down. I do have Roost. I did use it at one point there, just trying to get rid of his Leech Seed damage and trying to, buff my health a little bit. But in the end, he doesn't have a sub up by the time I bring in Omastar, and I'm able to take it out with an Ice Beam. Now, if you're wondering why Omastar is so fast, is because I have Swift Swim, and Swift Swim on Omastar and Ubers is great because there's no ban on Drizzle plus Swift Swim. It means I can outspeed a lot of things indeed. Rayquaza would normally be outsped, but the problem with Rayquaza is the fact that it has Airlock, obviously getting rid of the rain, and also resulting in me having to lose Swift Swim. So there you go. I'm going to switch out to Gliscor to take a physical hit, and it turns out it goes for Earthquake anyway, so I dodge a hit in the process, activate the Poison Orb, and I'm now at full health to take on a Rayquaza, which most likely looks to be physical from what we can tell so far. It goes for the Dragon Dance. I could have taunted, I guess, to shut him down a little bit, but Substitute seemed more apt, because I thought if he's going to try and go for a move, Outrage is the one who will do most damage. I didn't think he was going to lock himself in that early. Obviously, he doesn't do so. He just Dragon Dances and then Extreme Speeds. At this point, though, looking at his Rayquaza and looking at my Gliscor, he has Life Orb, he's +1. Outrage should do a lot of damage here. If it doesn't take me out, then it will be an easy 2-hit KO. So after I Toxic him and lose my Substitute, I'm going to switch to Ferrothorn, not only to take the Outrage, also to inflict Iron Barb's damage, also to inflict Life Orb damage, and also to waste a turn of Toxic, essentially. I know I can take at least 2 Outrages. I can take at least 1 Outrage and then die to a second one, but in the process, Rayquaza will die. Problem with that situation, he crits me, which means that I can't get off 2 Iron Barb hits, and I can't waste an extra turn of Toxic, and I can't get an extra Life Orb recoil, which essentially means at this point, I have to waste my Gliscor in the process of getting rid of his Rayquaza, because he's crit my Ferrothorn. If he just hit my Ferrothorn twice, he would have been dead as well, and we'd have been all dandy, but no, Gliscor has to take an Outrage with +1 and Life Orb, and maybe can deliver. Might do it. It does on 41. Takes the hit on 41 HP. Taunts the Rayquaza because honestly, I have no other move I can really hit it with. I have Earthquake, Toxic, and Substitute. So, well, it's going to die anyway this turn. So it really didn't make a lot of sense to go and do anything else other than, let Gliscor take the hit, which it does nicely. And at this point I'm thinking, well, fine, Deoxys attack comes in, he's probably just going to kill me off, so I'll just stay in here and take the death and go to switch to something to revenge him. But he goes for Superpower. I'm not sure quite what he was predicting there, but he goes for it and it doesn't kill me, which is absolutely freaking phenomenal, because I can just go for the Earthquake. Deoxys attack has terrible defenses, and he has -1 on the defense anyway from the Superpower, so he's actually going to die in 1 hit, which is incredible, because Deoxys attack is a huge, huge threat, so much attack power, and I basically get away scot-free. Gliscor should be dead at this point, but for some reason, he's trugging and chugging. He's chugging along like a little steam train, indeed. In comes Jirachi, which I think is just going to kill me off. Turns out I'm not only faster than the Jirachi, but I also live an Iron Head, so Gliscor hanging on by like the skin of its teeth here, not only able to get off the taunt so that he can't wish up, also stab Earthquake, do over half HP to the Jirachi, and put it in a very revengeable range for something like my Specs Palkia to come in and kill it with. So Gliscor, from going to die, is somehow done a hell of a lot more than it should have done, which I guess kind of makes up for the fact that Ferrothorn died to a crit, because it would have been a lot more work if that hadn't been the case and Gliscor had just died early, if his Deoxys had just straight up Ice Beam me or whatever he'd gone for, but didn't happen. Palkia is going to come in, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever in doubt as to how powerful Specs Palkia is, this is a Hydro Pump Specs in the rain on a Chansey, like almost half. Like, that's obviously factoring damage from Stealth Rock and stuff, but look how much damage that 2 Hydro Pumps does. So much. This must be like a very especially defensive Chansey, because I think that a normal, defensive variant would have died to 2-hit KO there. And fortunately, he lives for himself anyway. As you can see, he wishes there, so it didn't seem like a good idea to stay in because the Protect was kind of obvious. He didn't go for the Protector. He went for the Toxic, which was a smart play because I obviously wasn't going to want to stay in and go for a Hydro Pump predicting the Protect, and thankfully, I dodge it. The Omastar dodges it, which is actually going to be pretty huge. I guess that it kind of balances out with the fact that his Rayquaza crit my Ferrothorn, the fact that I dodged that Toxic, because having Omastar without Toxic and being able to set up Shell Smashes here is going to be really a big deal, because at the moment, I don't have any physical attackers left on the team. Chansey is still alive, so as long as I can get off a +4 Life Orb boosted Hydro Pump onto this Chansey, I should be good to go. I really should be, because, my god, this is the only way that I'm going to kill it at this point, really. So I go for it. I'm thinking, alright, let's see how much damage this does. Hopefully it'll do a lot of damage, and it's going down, it's chugging along, it's going down, it's so close, Omastar almost one-shots a Chansey, and ladies and gentlemen, this is power, raw power, unabridged. Unabridged, that's not really the right word in any situation there, but hey, I used it, so what are you gonna do? I can kill him now with an Ice Beam or an Earth Power. I decided to go for Ice Beam because, well, that's what I do. He tries to go for the double, triple, quadruple Protect, fails on the second one, which is thankful because it means I don't take as much toxic damage. And now Omastar probably isn't going to clean up the rest of his team just because I don't have enough time. Obviously, I'm going to die to Toxic and Life Orb eventually, so I can probably kill a Fortress, and then most likely I will be taken down to residual damage at the end of this turn. But at this point, he only has his Jirachi left, I believe. I still have Palkia with Specs, and I still have something else in the back of my pocket. I'm not quite... I think I have Kyogre. Kyogre's the last guy as well who I still have alive. So, even though Omastar is going to go down at this point, I have multiple whales? Yes! I have lots of whales in which to deal with this dude, one Jirachi here, which is only at half HP. Hydro Pump should be able to kill it. I was kind of afraid of it missing, and so instead of going for the obvious Hydro Pump and just hoping it doesn't miss, I go for the Thunder, which I thought may be able to kill it because of Specs. It lives with a smidgen, tiniest of liddly iddly diddly biddly smidges, and he paralyzes me. I'm not too worried, because at this point my Kyogre still has a Lumberry, so even if he tries to paralyze my Kyogre, I can easily kill him after he's gone for the T-Wave. And also, I resist Iron Head with both of these guys, so the likelihood of him getting like 60 power hacks / flinches in a row is unlikely, and so I'm not too afraid. Tony and Rich were like, well, that was a bad idea, you should have gone for the Hydro Pump, but in the end, it didn't make a huge difference, because you can see I actually break out the first turn. I get pretty lucky there. I would have eventually broken out, it would have been fine, so it wasn't really a huge thing. And I'm able to take the Jirachi out, finish the game, and that's it. We're done today. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see a guest narration that Joey did the other day, you can go click the video on screen right now and it'll take you to that. Otherwise, leave a like on the video if you liked it, and I will see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.